Hey, I saw Bodies, 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 and I'm going to review it. Oh no, Ralph, more low effort content from you. Like, whatever, okay. Continuing on, this movie was decent enough. This film was a satire of Gen Z, and also kind of a unique take on the whodunit murder mystery. This film really hinges on the twists of the plot, so I'm not going to give anything away about this film because it isn't even out yet in the US. I don't think it's out anywhere. I'm not even going to give my thoughts on the ending. It's one of those endings that's either going to work for you or not. I liked how the film is mostly lit by their phone flashlights and also their glow sticks. By the way, make sure not to put the glow stick liquid in your mouth because it will definitely give you cancer. I read one review that criticized the movie's reliance on references and its catering to a younger audience, but I don't take the film that way, really. The dialogue felt natural to me. This is how these characters would be talking, and they would be making these kinds of jokes. Each character felt distinct, and also the vet character didn't really talk like that. I do feel this movie's poking fun at its audience, but at the same time, the audience it's made for enjoyed it a lot because it's just a entertaining movie. It's a good example of how to do something like this and make a satire of the very audience that you're actually marketing to. It actually does a lot in its 90-minute runtime, and it mostly managed to be entertaining. It gets started pretty quickly, and once it gets going, it doesn't stop. It was a very unique horror movie that I think fans of horror are really gonna like, and I'm curious to see what the general reaction from people is, especially about that ending. But I'd recommend this to you if you like A24 horror movies. I definitely felt it was entertaining enough, and it's a bit a cut above the other film I'm going to talk about, and also most other horror films that come out. It's a bit more artful and has a bit more going on thematically than most horror movies that come out. If you saw the trailer and you liked it, then I think you'll enjoy this movie. I think the trailer sells exactly what it is, and also if you like A24 horror films in general, I feel you'll also enjoy this. I rate Bodies, Bodies, Bodies a 7. Now moving on to another horror film. This one is from Blumhouse. It's the new film directed by Scott Derrickson, the director of Sinister and the first Doctor Strange movie. This is a very successful film in the box office. It's been critically praised, so I don't think it matters much what I thought of it necessarily. There is definitely some amount of things I appreciate about this movie. I like its small scale, taking place mostly in one location. I didn't know anything about this film going into it, aside from Ethan Hawke is playing some kind of serial killer. So the whole film I was wondering, is there some kind of supernatural element here, or is he just a serial killer, or is he a ghost? And I'm not going to give away what happens, but the story is kind of unpredictable and unique in certain ways. Going back to Ethan Hawke, I thought his performance was good, and I was trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who might not have seen Ethan Hawke from his other movies he's been in. And that being said, if I could get into my criticism, it was never clear why he was keeping the main character in that basement for so long without doing anything. I guess it's implied he was going to kill him eventually, but it wasn't clear when he was going to do that or why. Maybe he was just messing with him, but why for so long? As a result, a large part of this film is sort of aimless, which makes it feel even longer than it is. I think the biggest thing that took me out of it was just the written dialogue, actually. It's not really how I think kids would have talked at the time, or today, or ever. They were talking like adults through most of it, and some notable parts where they were like cursing up a storm, that was kind of funny, but there was just way too much exposition in their dialogue that made the whole situation very unbelievable. There are some scenes in this film that are really corny. There are certain plot points that just went kind of nowhere satisfying, really. There are parts of this shot on film, which is supposed to be the dream sequences for the sister character. The film scenes were reminiscent of scenes from Sinister, and that just fits Sinister much better because he's actually watching old films he found. And also those film scenes were just much scarier in that movie. They used the film look pretty effectively, and it added a lot to that movie. Those are definitely the scariest parts of Sinister, and I actually remember those. And here the shots of the film or whatever are just a stylistic decision with no practical reason why it was shot on film like that, aside from being a stylistic choice. I didn't find that scary, really. I didn't really find the film scary at all. It didn't disturb me. None of the subject matter in it disturbs me. I understand it's for a general audience, but this film is a bit too broad and casts its net a bit too large to be a memorably great horror movie for me. That being said, I enjoyed it, but if it wasn't so convoluted, I would have liked it a little bit more. It's a 6 for me. But thanks for watching. Hang in there, everybody.